Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply. Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply. Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
I doubt that I could find a slave and a submissive in my life as she is.
10-Minute Murder contains depictions of actual crimes. What you are about to hear is real and violent in nature. Discretion is advised. This is 10-Minute Murder.
Welcome to 10-Minute Murder, the brief and bingeable true crime podcast. I'm Joe, the host, and thank you for being here. This is a show with multiple episodes per week, so if you aren't subscribed, you could miss some. So go ahead and subscribe so that you don't have to take a day off work when you do subscribe to get all caught up. Look, I'm just trying to help you save some vacation days. Today's story is like a modern-day soap opera. It would almost be enjoyable if it weren't real life, where someone died. But be prepared. We're going to tiptoe into the underground world of sexual deviancy and sadomasochism. – 2012, Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. The three main people we'll be discussing today: Bob Bashara, his wife Jane, and a mentally challenged handyman named Joe Gentz. Bob had been married to Jane for 26 years. They had 2 kids that really don't factor into the story, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Jane was a marketing manager at an energy consulting firm in Detroit. Bob was an entrepreneur with several businesses in Grosse Pointe Park, heavily involved in the community. On the afternoon of January 24th, 2012, Jane disappeared. Detroit isn't exactly known for its low crime rate, so a lot of people got worried real fast. Bob filed a missing persons report that night when she didn't come home, but the very next morning, Jane's body was discovered in the back seat of her SUV, parked in an East Detroit alley. She had been strangled to death, but put up a fierce fight, as evidenced by her bruises and broken fingernails. Police said it appeared that she had been killed somewhere else and placed there to be discovered. Bob Bashara said he came home from work that day, saw the TV on, and her work ID was there, but no Jane. Initially, he thought she must be out running errands. He told police that he had talked to her on the phone while she was on the way home from work, but not so fast. Phone records would show that wasn't true. They brought him in for questioning, calling him a person of interest.
Obviously, they have to do a job. Someone did this to my wife. They have to start. They usually start. They said start closest to the home and then spread out. And so I'm doing what I need to do to cooperate with the authorities to find who did this to my wife.
Bob submitted to a lie detector test and failed. The police searched the Bashara home and found blood in the garage. Feeling the heat of the investigation, Bob held a press conference.
We wish to thank the hundreds and hundreds of supporters who have shown their love and respect for my Jane. This is an unconceivable tragedy, and everyone needs to know how absolutely wonderful and how much this has meant. They'll never know how wonderful this has been for us.
Yeah, he definitely just said that it has been wonderful. What you couldn't see was Bob using a handkerchief to wipe his eyes. He wasn't crying. At this point, the investigation starts to get a little crazy. Joe Gentz, that I mentioned earlier, went to the police with some information about Jane's homicide. He said that Bob had paid him $2,000 and a used Cadillac, pointed a gun at him, and forced him to kill her. They didn't initially take his confession completely serious because of the mental handicap I mentioned earlier. They told Joe to go home. Bob, of course, denied it. However, something that Bob wouldn't deny when it came out, he was deep into the S&M lifestyle, with many mistresses and even his own sex dungeon. This dungeon wasn't at his home. It was in the basement of one of the downtown buildings he owned. Business up top, whips and chains down below. I'm not trying to kink shame anyone, but maybe keep that to the confines of your home. He liked to be called Master Bob and had regular parties down there. And by parties, you know what I mean. One of his mistresses was fired from her job on the day that Jane was discovered dead because she up and left work without warning. The same mistress said that she and Bob were planning to buy a house together, but police never considered her a suspect. While Bob continued to profess his innocence to anyone that would listen.
Is there any motive that you could have had to kill your wife?
No, none.
Financial?
None.
Didn't want to be married to her anymore?
None whatsoever. We had a very good, open relationship.
Police arrested Joe Gentz, so maybe they did believe his story after all. Bob Bashara's double life didn't make him a killer, but when police eventually did charge him with it, it did make the trial more interesting. 4 months after the murder, Bob was arrested. Just when you thought things couldn't get weirder, it came out that Bob had tried to hire someone to kill Joe Gentz. He hired a guy to kill the guy he hired to kill his wife. This time, he couldn't deny it. The guy was wearing a wire. In December of 2012, he pled guilty to that charge. During his murder trial that he pled not guilty to, prosecutors said that Bob's motivation for killing Jane was her $800,000 401k. He wanted to buy property that he called the cottage, where he would be served by a harem of submissive women full-time. A couple of the women he planned to have in his concubine testified against him.
Bob Bashara sat quietly while his secret double life was unfolding. The mistress testified she wanted to dip her toe into the BDSM lifestyle. Bob called her a virgin to it all, and she got her second painful surprise.
I wasn't expecting what I got, but a really good beating that left marks for about 3 months. I got thrashed.
The evidence was overwhelming, and he was found guilty. And the judge, during sentencing, absolutely dunked on him.
Master Bob, the only person you ever loved was yourself. Just like a predator, you used social media, the BDSM lifestyle, your family, your friends, to allure your victims with lies about whom you were and what you wanted. The truth hurts, the lies destroy. How could somebody so gentle, well-spoken, kind, considerate, be capable of having a dark heart? When your victims put their guards down and trusted you, you sucked them emotionally like a vampire, taking from them their integrity, their self-worth, and their love. You are a predator. Your arsenal was composed of daily lies, EMs, text messages, letters, cards, trips. You used them to tell them what they wanted to hear so you could destroy their lives. As a judge on this side of eternity, today there will be justice for Jane. As to count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree premeditated murder, the court is going to sentence you to mandatory life. Count 2, the court is going to sentence you to no less than 19, no more than 40. Count 3 is life without parole. Count 4, obstruction of justice, 1 to 5, and witness bribery, intimidation, 2 to 10.
Joe Gentz, by the way, was sentenced to 17 years for second-degree murder, a lesser amount for his testimony against Bob Bashara.
I went over to move boxes. Next thing I know, he pulls a gun on me and says, "Shut her up." They were arguing still. And he says, do it now. So I broke her neck. Yes, I'll be honest, I did do that.
Earlier this year, in 2020, while serving his sentence in prison, at 62 years old, Bob Bashara died. Complications from diabetes is believed to be the cause. And that's today's 10-Minute Murder, the brief and bingeable true crime podcast. Now, before you sneak off to go back down to your basement dungeon, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. As a subscriber, you get the episodes as soon as they come out without delay. If you don't subscribe, you still get them, but it's just not as quickly. And just so we're clear, there was zero kink shaming intended in this episode. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.
Present you is burnt out at your current job, but future you works at Geico, and future you is also a beekeeper.
Me? I don't even go outside.
Well, with Geico, you got a consistent schedule, so you are now one with nature, my friend.
So I've become a bee person?
Technically an apiarist, and yes, you also got a competitive salary, so you had the funds to start a new hobby.
All right, give me that honey.
Virginia Beach. Start your future at Geico. We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.jobs/Virginia Beach.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply. Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply. Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.